Welcome back to the Breakdown Podcast. Been away for a while, but today we're going to get into NBA stuff, playoff predictions.
Hey guys, it's Pal. Let's start off by kind of recapping, I guess, just what we've thought about the playoffs as they've gone along. We haven't really been there to share our opinions as the playoffs have started. Round one, I thought was pretty predictable. If we will talk about and start with just like talking about like the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to from now on. It's going to be the Eastern Conference and just seeing how it shakes out. I think that Boston-Philly series, even without having Embiid for Game 1, possibly out for Game 2 as well, although that definitely changes the story of that series. I think that just not having Milwaukee, you know that whoever wins this series has a green light to the finals, basically. What do you think about how both of these teams are going to address the series, and who do you think has the advantage coming into it?
I'm gonna say this series definitely goes to 7. This is probably gonna be one of the highly contested matchups we've seen throughout these playoffs, at least. The one thing that kind of concerns me if I'm Boston is that you never really had any games against Atlanta where any star player stuck out, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. The good part about that is that you're playing team ball. The bad part about this is that we saw it in the finals last year against the Warriors. Jason Tatum, not always the scorer like every game that he can be, and that's what they really need down the stretch. And with Philly, I think they have more scorers, and if it comes down to a 99-99 game, like I trust Philadelphia with the ball more offensively for them to make a shot in the crunch time.
Right, and I think that just comes from the fact that we've seen James Harden and Joel Embiid play so well together, that duo, and then the fact that you've had Maxey, you've had Harris, you've had Melton, you've had Paul Reed, you've had all these guys step up, and they did it last round where they were on every game, and we're going to see it very early on in this Boston series if those other guys are going to be able to step up and provide a much-needed scoring production, provide much-needed just, life. Because without Joel Embiid, we know how this team, it looks different. And although they did have a better record without Embiid in the regular season, I just don't think that, you can just talk about them in any way, shape, or form being at any kind of advantage without having Joel Embiid. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And another crazy thing is, Tyler, by the way, I want to get this in. As we're recording, it's 7:05 on Monday. I mean, he's the MVP is what people are saying. I know the result's not out yet. It'll come out Tuesday at 7, but so far the straw polls are showing Joel Embiid as MVP. So if this is maybe the first podcast that, announces it maybe or talks about it, but I am so glad that we're so close to an Embiid MVP, by the way. So, yeah, just Sixers missing the MVP. It's going to suck. We'll see how they respond Game 1. And I think that just from Game 1 and their response, we'll be able to figure out how this series is going to go, because if we see Philly come out with a certain kind of edge that troubles Boston, we've seen in the last series especially, the Celtics struggle with getting their entire team firing at once. Whenever Jaylen Brown has an off night, you see Tatum kind of take the load. You see Tatum kind of drop off. And you do have games where they both play out. We've seen it. They did it later in the series against Atlanta, where they're both scoring, close to 35 points, and doing everything else as well besides the scoring. You'll have Tatum getting at least 6 assists, both getting good boards. Jaylen Brown won't get assists or play good defense, but he'll definitely be more of an efficient scorer. But whichever way it goes for Boston, they have a lot of guys that they can rely on. I'm more excited to see how their bench will play in this series. I think that that's going to be one of their biggest keys.
Yeah, no, so they're going to have Maxey or Harden go off for at least more than 30 for them to win tonight.
Harden needs to have 15 assists if we need to win without Joel Embiid.
Yeah, so.
And we need another one of those, George Niang has 15 points and he's 5 of 6 from the 3-point line or something. We need one of those performances where we're just shooting ridiculously well and everything's happening. That starts with James Harden. I'm interested to see how he responds to Marcus Smart. That's going to be possibly the matchup that determines the series because we already know that Blake Griffin is going to struggle with Embiid. He'll find ways to kind of distract him and kind of toss him off his game just using his IQ and his experience. But I mean, the Harden Smart matchup is going to be key. Who do you think has the upper hand?
Definitely Harden. I don't. What do you got for the series predictions for this?
I guess I never gave mine. I guess I mean, I'm gonna pick the Sixers till they lose, man. Sixers in 7, yeah.
In 7, all right.
Sixers in 7, just because Joel Embiid's not playing Game 1, so I expect us to be down early. So I don't know.
Let's stay in the Eastern Conference. Knicks Heat game took place yesterday.
Right.
Knicks were up early. He came back even without an injured Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
It was Nick Vincent who got
right.
the job done. What do you make of this Game 1, and how is the tide about to turn?
So, I don't know. I think that game, I don't know why I'm looking at a thing that says Bill. But I think the thing was with the Knicks, even when they were in control of the game, I never really thought that Miami was out, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's just the fact that I trust Spoelstra, I trust Jimmy. You don't just beat the team with the best overall record in the NBA. Like, in 5, it's not a fluke. This team is legit. And I think that they showed it once again. It's not over till it's over. Just when the Knicks were getting a little bit too comfortable, the Heat showed them why you can't. And you have to keep the pressure on the whole game in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, that just shows experience versus inexperience, that first game does. And I think that New York they're gonna respond well. And I think that they've definitely shown us what they do well. They know what they do well, and whenever they're on their game, it's tough to beat them. I think that they're very versatile on the defensive side, which is also useful against a team like Miami. That's kind of like where I think Milwaukee struggled. It's the fact that, like, if you remember on the last play of the Jimmy Butler like game winner, where he's like, you know what I'm talking about, where he tossed the ball. Before that inbound play, Spoelstra took out Bam, which forced the Bucks to take out Brook Lopez, which is why Jimmy was able to get that alley. So, like, just things like that where the Heat are just able to take advantage of defensive mismatches. And I think that the Knicks are one of the better equipped teams to handle that.
Yeah, they're doing it all without Tyler Hero, something to keep note of, which is pretty impressive. But that just comes to show you what this Miami Heat franchise has been all about.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many times have they missed the playoffs, but when they are in that playoffs, they're always giving those top seeds tough times. And we've seen them. They've been pretty much one of the best. You could easily say, like, the most consistent team in the East for when it comes to the playoffs over the past decade, because made the finals in 2020. Took the Celtics to, was it Game 7 or Game 6 last year in Eastern Conference?
Game 7, they were one game away.
Yeah,
they were right
Game
there.
7. And they've just been a very prevalent team, especially with the addition of Jimmy Butler. So, props to them. I wanted to root for the Knicks so bad in the series, and I love, like, the energy at MSG. Like, honestly, I wish that's one of the main reasons that if I picked the Knicks, it'd be only just because I want to see more games played at MSG. But I have to go Heat in 6 just because I saw them beat pretty much without they beat the Knicks with a injured Jimmy Butler. So
yeah, it's pretty hard to bet against this Miami team right now. Would you say that they've kind of overtaken Philly as that third best team in the East, or maybe not even third best because they're better than the Bucks? But where do you kind of put on a power rankings type of question? Where do you rank the Heat, Celtics, and Sixers?
They're probably third best team.
Okay, so you still have Philly and Boston.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and do you think that I guess has it kind of changed the series, this Buck series? Has it kind of changed your notion on if, like, do you think it's possible for the Heat to beat either one of those teams of 7-game series?
Yeah, because I don't think the Eastern Conference has really been good at all for the past decade or so, and so getting a top 3 seed doesn't really mean anything unless you're probably Boston. And we've seen the West. It's a fucking battle right now. So
Yeah.
Miami can always anybody in the East can win, and it's always been that way. He are an 8 seed, so that just comes to show you that the East hasn't really been as strong.
Right. First time in NBA history that in the second round, every single seed 1 through 8 is represented.
Dan Bush pointed that out, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I remember I saw that in the chat.
I saw it on Twitter or something.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. It had each seed written down. It was like the Lakers were the 7, obviously. The Heat were the 8, which is the 2 kind of harder, like the harder ones to see. The 6 was obviously the Warriors. They kind of made it. They completed it, I guess.
And that's just like all these good teams making it in past the first round just comes to show
because of injuries.
Regular season does not matter at all, and the NBA needs to do something about it.
You know what else it shows? It shows that this is a recent trend that hasn't happened before in the NBA, which is why a response is hard because they haven't dealt with this before. Completely new problem, and I don't know if there's much precedent to kind of go off on how to respond to this.
Oh, there's tons of precedent. They have already implemented the playing game. They need to do something else. Shorten the season. Make a in-season tournament. They need to do something.
They're going to do the in-season tournament. They've announced that.
All right, good, because they need to do something or else...
The in-season tournament, we got to talk. We'll talk about that at some point over the summer whenever it's tough to find content. But the NBA's new in-season tournament is an exciting concept.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move to the West. We were talking about the West just a minute ago. These series, both of them, very exciting on paper, just because of the storylines. Let's start with which one? Which one are you looking at?
We'll go Lakers Warriors first.
That's where my head was at.
I think this will bring in the most money, TV money for sure. LeBron versus Curry once again in the playoffs.
This is the fact that this is in the second round only makes it more mouth-watering, doesn't it? Like, just the fact that this is the second round makes it even more appealing to me because this is we're being treated to June basketball right now, and it's the first day of May.
Exactly.
So, I'm so happy that we've been blessed with, and even the other side of this Western Conference is another June-ish matchup, but we'll get to that in a minute. Who do you think will be the best player in this Warriors-Lakers series?
Well, it's an offense versus defense, and Curry is third in points per game right now in the playoffs at 33, and then AD's leading.
That's right. I was about to say.
NBA in blocks. He's literally got 4.
I thought you were about to say something else. But anyway, yeah, AD has been leading.
4.3, and so that's 2 more blocks than the next dude who's Embiid. And Lakers are averaging the most rebounds per game, most blocks per game, so the best defense. And then Curry and Klay Thompson have the 1 and 2 for most three-pointers made in this playoffs. So offense versus defense is the story.
Klay Thompson had the most threes made at the end of the regular season.
I'm talking about the playoffs.
I'm just also adding, I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. Good point, yeah. No,
people be hating on Klay. I feel like the Klay disrespect is kind of grown because he doesn't drop 30 as much or anything. You know what I mean? Like that guy, but he's
less
also
explosive. But he still hits his threes.
That's what I'm saying. So people gotta respect that and remember that he, even on a team with Steph Curry, he's the one that's scoring more threes. So just saying.
Exactly. So the difference in this series, LeBron James, as usual. I mean, he's putting up 20, 10 and 10 literally every night in the playoffs, pretty much. And we've seen him
the GOAT
assert that clutch factor, especially in that last series. So
yeah, man, LeBron has played so great. It's actually so incredible to watch. But my key player, I'm gonna take it another way. It's Anthony Davis. I think that this entire series rests on Anthony Davis. It does, because if he is able to dominate Draymond, or will they even put Draymond on? I guess. Is it Draymond or is it Looney?
Looney's averaging 15 boards a game.
Yeah, Looney's a beast. But yeah, they'll probably put Looney just because of the size difference. But
and he's top 5 in field goal percentage.
Yeah, but I mean, he's taking.
He's averaging over 10 a game. That's good. Have a top 5 field
he's
goal
a he's a great center.
good.
But I will say you just have to remember the system and the fact that
I know he doesn't.
We've seen
executing, bro. That's just
we've seen a lot of centers play good for the Warriors in the last 8 years or so.
I'm just saying, to be top 5 in field goal percentage is good. That's not
I'm not
factor.
okay. I'm not trying to hate on him. 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 I'm just trying to give credit to just the system, to the whole system.
He's better than James Wiseman.
He is. That's true. James Wiseman is like worth nothing right now, low key. That's the way that they've been, the media outlets have been talking about James Wiseman. It's been kind of tough to figure out where his future is going to take him. I don't know if that is Golden State or elsewhere. We'll find out soon, though. I think just because he's getting to that age, I'm sure his rookie deal will expire in the next 2 years.
Someone will take a chance at him for sure.
He's definitely worth the whatever risk you
Still
see.
a young player.
Yeah, but to talk more about this series and just the big matchups and the key things to watch out for. I think that it's going to be important to see how D'Lo plays on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen the Lakers kind of use defense as their upper hand, but we haven't seen we've seen them rely on their interior defense, but not their perimeter defense. So I think that players like Jared Vanderbilt will be absolutely crucial to the Lakers' game plan for this series.
Vanderbilt will be used a lot, and it would be hard not to mention Austin Reeves. He is the third best player on the Lakers.
He's the glue that makes it happen. I read it.
Even D'Angelo Russell, he has had his offensive outbursts, but
right. No.
Reeves is consistently putting up 20 points a game, and it's depth that LeBron James has finally had for the first time.
Yeah.
And so Rui Hachimura is literally fifth in 3-point percentage of the playoffs, which is kind of interesting.
Rui Hachimura has had a great playoffs as well. He's he's been seeing a lot. He's been seeing a great increase in playing time over the last month or so. I wanted to bring up also that there's a ESPN article came out yesterday or the day before, towards the end of April, where it talked about Austin Reeves and how he's the glue of the Lakers. Had a bunch of advanced stats and stuff, so if you're into that kind of stuff, I'd recommend. But basically, it talked about Austin Reeves' role in the Lakers and what he does, and it's a lot of the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheets. It's a lot of the stuff that the Lakers need help with, which is A, scoring, B, pace. They need people that can bring pace to the team, especially whenever you rely on, they haven't relied on Anthony Davis because he's been hurt. So whenever you rely on LeBron, whenever you rely on these other guys that they did for most of the year, their pace struggled, and we've seen the importance of pace in the playoffs. We've seen the importance of pace in the modern NBA. And we know the Warriors, they're going to play at a high pace, and they're going to have to match that pace and get comfortable with it, or it's going to be a very long series.
What you got? What's your prediction?
Warriors in 6.
I got Lakers in 6, so that'll be interesting. I want to actually recap on the first round.
Right.
On just our picks. Just our picks.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Knicks Cavs series.
Oh, yeah. I got that so wrong.
I picked the Knicks. You picked the Cavs. I think that was very surprising how bad the Cavs played.
And I even said that I was high on the Cavs coming in the playoffs. I guess I just didn't see freak. I just brain farted his name, bro. Oh man, used to play on the Nets, the center, Jared Allen. Yeah. I just didn't expect Jared Allen to play like dog shit, dude. That's what it was. That's where they got beat. We've seen it all year. Their interior defense was their biggest source of weakness. Their rebounding was their second biggest source of weakness. And Jared Allen was supposed to come back from injury and help fix those. I'm not I've been a hater a lot today. Sorry, Jared Vanderbilt. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm just saying that they needed more from the guys, and we've seen that the two center thing works a lot when Jared Allen is on. Clearly, he was not 100% after the injuries. Credit for him being out there, but that series did not go how the Cavs intended it to.
I want to finish up Nuggets and Suns, and then we can get right back to our.
Yeah, good idea. Nuggets Suns. I don't want to make this one quick, but I also don't want to spend too much time on it because there's just not much to say. This is the series with excellent coaching, some of the best basketball players walking on this planet today, and probably just the two most powerful, or how would I describe it? The two true juggernauts of the NBA today, going head to head.
Probably in the regular season, yeah. If you're dating back to the previous season,
No. I'm talking about the rosters.
I don't think you could pronounce the Nuggets as juggernauts, and I don't think you pronounce the Suns as juggernauts. They haven't really proved anything with their roster together.
I'm just
We
talking
know
about
how
the
good their
roster.
players.
All right.
We know how good their players are, but I don't think you can dismiss.
I was just
game
leading
one.
into it, bro. I was just leading into it.
I know where you were going with it. You're about to say the Suns don't have to worry about them, right? But the Nuggets,
No, I got the Nuggets, bro.
You got the Nuggets?
I got the Nuggets. I think that the Suns haven't played enough minutes together of enough serious, high IQ basketball. I feel like you have to take into account for what this Denver squad has gone through. I think that the Jamal Murray, Jokic the 2-man game there is second to only James Harden and Embiid. And I think that what the Suns have in KD Booker can be better. But
what about Brown and AD?
That's a pretty good duo, but I think that one is definitely worse than Jokic, Jamal Murray, just because Jokic is a top 2 player in the NBA the whole year.
Yes, but Jamal Murray is not LeBron James, and Anthony Davis
is
a lot more comparable to Jokic.
Yeah, I know. I understand that, but also the Nuggets have this in the playoffs. I guess you definitely can't talk about it because AD and LeBron have actually won a ring together. So I guess if you're talking about all time, maybe it's a different issue. But I'm just saying right now, who's playing basketball? I'm gonna take Jamal Murray, Jokic, especially because both of them are not way more, but a little bit more explosive. I feel like just with Jamal Murray and his 3-point shooting and Jokic and his playmaking.
I got the Nuggets in 7 too. I think.
Wait, we're gonna agree on those?
I think the Nuggets are gonna lose the next game. They're gonna split the next 2. It's just gonna keep going back and forth because I don't really see. You can have. I mean, Booker's averaging the most points in the game in the playoffs right now, so it's hard not for KD. If Booker and KD explode at the same time, they're gonna win a game. It's just gonna happen. I feel like it could happen more often than not, especially with Chris Paul and Ayton as your 3rd and 4th best players. So, be a close series.
Now I feel bad for not picking the Suns. I do want to go with the Suns. I really do, but I just see it happening this way, man. This is what I see happening. I think that the way that Michael Porter Jr. has been playing, I think that he is going to be more of a factor than both Ayton and Chris Paul will be. And the second point that I wanted to make was I think that in the clutch moments, whenever they do need that big-time play, that big-time bucket, I don't know if I can trust the Suns to get it. And I know that last year we were kind of in the same boat with the Nets team that hasn't played very well or very much with each other. And they were, one KD big toe away from beating the Bucks. So maybe, I just contradicted my own point. I really don't know how to go with this series, but you can't count out either one of these teams for a multitude of reasons. And that's why I think that this series, this is the best second-round series we'll probably get ever. Just from the storylines, the MVP, back-to-back MVP versus Kevin Durant, possibly the greatest scorer of all time, paired up with Devin Booker, who just went to the finals. You have a Hall of Famer in Chris Paul. Hall of Famer if he wins a ring.
These are a bunch of guys who have been there, done that. Yes. A lot of history, I would say. I don't know about storylines, but yes, for sure a lot of history.
Plus, a lot of history,
Plus, the first game was not close at all.
Maybe not storyline. The storyline is in LA. The storyline is between, if you want the history, you got to look at Golden State, LA. You know what I mean? If you want a storyline between players on the court, that's the series to go to.
All right, so let's go back to
our last series.
Our predictions, yeah. So back to the Eastern Conference. Pal picked the Cavs. I picked the Knicks.
We talked about that one next.
Yep. Miami Heat and Bucks.
Did you pick the Heat?
I actually picked the Heat.
I had no idea. I picked the Bucks.
I just had a feeling. I'm a Giannis hater. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really express it too much, but I have my reasons.
Can you say one of them?
I think you need to be a better shooter to be mentioned as one of the greatest ever, and people are putting his name in there with Kareem and all of that. And I mean, as dominant as he is, his championship run was one of the weakest we've ever seen. Literally, they played the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals, so it was one of the least hardest to win championships of all time, in my opinion, when Giannis won.
Plus, yeah, they had the Suns too, which wasn't that
Exactly.
an unexperienced team that was just happy to be there kind of thing.
Beat
Both
the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi. So
of them. Yeah, that really was the Clippers' golden chance, by the way.
just like the playoffs were very kind of weak with a lot of stars injured, so that's why I like.
And you hate the Eastern Conference.
I do, yeah. It's just not as
A
strong.
lot of people do. If I was a basketball neutral, or if my team was not in the Eastern Conference, I would hate it too. Shit is ass.
I mean, it makes odds for winning a championship easier.
Oh,
so.
most definitely. I like that. And, yeah, easier schedules and all that. But you know what I mean from a basketball perspective. Anyway, next series, the Sixers one, we both
Both
got
picked
right.
the Sixers.
Yeah,
That was
next
kind
one.
of an obvious one. And then Boston, both picked Boston, too.
Okay. So 2-2, 4-0. Next.
Getting to the Western Conference, the Lakers, Grizzlies. I picked the Lakers.
Did I pick the Grizzlies?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we
There were
get
a lot of upsets.
Kings, Warriors. I picked the Kings, actually.
Who did I pick?
You picked the Warriors.
Sweet.
So
I'm 3-3. You
I got
have one wrong.
1 out.
5-1.
Suns, Clippers. I picked the Clippers. Did you pick the Clippers?
I picked the Suns.
You did? All right. I know you were trying to make a case for the Clippers too. But
The Suns. This run is so insane. I feel so bad for them.
no, yeah.
Clippers, Nuggets, and then probably Warriors or Lakers.
And then
What a fucking maul.
the last team was
The last series? Is that what you're thinking of?
last series was the
Well, that's the
both
Nuggets.
picked the Nuggets. Yeah. So
There's one more. That's 7. There's one more series.
no, we went over all. I went 6-2. You went
I was at
5-3.
something like that. Not bad.
Not bad.
Should have been writing it down when we were doing this. Anyway, we'll get better at this, guys. So apart from that, apart from those thoughts and initial reactions, what do you think has been the biggest storyline in this playoffs? We've already covered a lot of the bases. You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
So yeah, I was gonna say because I knew you were kind of like I could see you thinking, but I
No, I got mine.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
All right. Well, mine is. I thought that I was so impressed with the way the Sixers played. I was. We talked about how this would be an easy series, but the fact that it was just 4 games where they didn't even need Joel Embiid scored 20 points one game. It was good to see some good basketball where I wasn't stressed, and knowing that the season is likely over in a week or so, I'll take it.
It's nice to see the Sixers beat the Nets with pretty much
Exactly.
nobody on them. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess there's a great story there.
I know. That's what I had to get him in, bro. We barely talked about him.
It has to be LeBron James though, just standing the test of time, absolutely dominating.
I'm glad you said it because I didn't want to steal it from you.
The number 2 seed Grizzlies.
Are you going to talk about DB?
Jaren Jackson, Defensive Player of the Year. John Morant going off, even with an injured hand, and then Dylan Brooks is there too.
Here's what I'll say: the biggest storyline that I was actually going to say is it would have been the Dylan Brooks thing. I'm so happy he's getting endlessly clowned on social media.
Is I don't like he said I don't respect anybody until they give me 40.
And then they
lost by 40.
They beat him by 40 to end the series, the 2 days after he said that. And then also whenever he said something about, or what was it? Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I remember though before in our podcast where we talked about just predicting the series, one thing that I did say whenever we talked about the Memphis Lakers series, I remember I talked about Clark and Steven Adams both missing time in that series. I mean, come on. I understand the Lakers won. I love the storyline. But if you think that with Clark and with Adams and Ja 100% healthy, the Grizzlies lose like that to the Clippers or to the Lakers again, I just don't think that's the case. And I think that I'm not going to try and put an asterisk next to it. I know that LeBron haters will also hate it. I'm not.
Because Steven Adams wasn't there?
No, I just said I'm not going to. I just said I'm not going to.
7th best player.
The Lakers dominated them. They beat them by 40 in the closeout game. I'm not saying that they should have won or anything. I'm not saying this year. I'm just saying that.
You just mentioned the word asterisk, and
I just said I'm not trying to put an asterisk on there because that's where I could tell it was going.
You did. All right. Keep going.
I'm just saying I'm not putting an asterisk on there. But I just want to say that I think the Grizzlies are going to be back and just as good next year. I don't think that they'll fall off. I don't think this is a 1-year thing.
They got chemistry, hella chemistry.
I genuinely think, I genuinely thought that whenever that John Moran quote came out, where he said, "I'm fine in the West," I know we're like, even I'm clowning on that quote right now. I'm not like, I seriously understand how this is sounding, but I do just want people to understand that this Grizzlies team plays a very, very, very solid brand of basketball. They have their identity. They have their superstar. They really do have a squad. And I just, like, I'm not a fan of this team because I don't like the guys and I don't like the personalities and stuff. But from a purely like basketball perspective, it's hard not to believe in this team and to believe in Taylor Jenkins.
Shout out Desmond Bane too, because he's probably their third best player and is an absolute bucket. Can shoot the hell out of.
He was their second best player before he got hurt. I genuinely do think.
Offensively, yes. Jaren Jackson, defensive player, their second best player.
Yeah. I mean that's always like the Rudy Gobert thing, I guess, as well. Like. He's like he was the second best player on the Jazz. He was the second best player on the Jazz with Donovan.
The thing with Desmond Bane is he's a great 3-point shooter. If he's off, he's not shooting.
But Desmond Bane But Desmond Bane also he can affect the ball in other ways. He's also another great defender as well. It's not like he's
not like a 3-level scorer though.
That's the thing. And I do think that he could take that next step easy though. I mean, we've seen players do it recently. And I think that.
He moves like a shooter, he's like a Duncan Robinson.
But I mean, he's
way better.
That boy's cut though. He can move. I mean, come on now. I think if he really like.
I just don't see him evolving into that. But he's still a 20-point per game guy. Like, definitely.
Who knows, bro? Who knows? Like,
best playoff.
We've seen players add things to their games like that. Like, I don't think it's completely unheard of to say that it just won't happen. And the Grizzlies have a current kind of hole to fill in a secondary playmaking role, where without Ja, even though this team plays well, but just because of just the way they play, the chemistry, the ball movement, the shooters, like they're able to play well without Ja. But I do think that they miss a little bit of playmaking and just explosiveness when he's out. And yeah, that's another thing. The Grizzlies season ended. I didn't expect it to so soon, so I just want to make sure they get their props. Congrats to the Lakers, though. They're a good team. They're a really good team. I think that they're entering this series against the Warriors a little bit more confident. The only reason I'd argue against that is just because Curry dropped 50 yesterday. But from a holistic standpoint, if I'm the Warriors, I would be scared of the Lakers right now, just because the Lakers are coming in with more rest. They're coming in with defense wins championships. It's the playoffs now. So they're going to be tested as well. The Warriors are on the other side of the ball. They're not going to just be playing offense. So we're going to have to see how they respond with those matchups, with AD playing the way he has been, with LeBron playing the way he has been. We're going to see this front court of the Warriors gets just swarmed. So
definitely agree. It should be a very interesting series. That'll do it for the Breakdown Podcast. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.
Sweet. Do we need to record?